Okay, hey everyone, so here we are with another rambling video. So we're going to have a GPQ running in the background here. So this was recorded this morning as I'm doing this audio at night. So this is attempt number 2. So last week we had our first real, go at it in terms of just seeing how we'd go with the strategy that we wanted. The strategy that we went with last week was going with 3 parties with having 2 main attackers per party, which really slowed us down quite a bit. So this time around it was decided just to do 2 parties with full attackers in both parties. And I think it went pretty well. It was a good result. I'll just have it running all the way through from the recording because it's actually the runtime for the amount of audio that I want to do as well. So on the Maple front, as you can see, I'm halfway through level 272. So this is a point that I was really pushing to get to in terms of like a motivational position. Just really wanting to get somewhere to the point where it is, sorry, just the music changed there, just really threw me off, the background resetting there. And me going on the level 250 chair. So getting to level 272 at 50% is halfway, and it's the way that it's a goal that I sort of set for myself when I realized how slow it was going to be going from 270 to 275. And so I'm really happy to get to that point. It's taken roughly 2 months, I think, to get from 270 to 272 50%. It hasn't been that bad. It's more so just, as you go up in terms of steps per thing, from each level gap, it will get slower, obviously. And so now we've really only got 2.5 levels to go. It's really good. As I've said before, I think I will be strangely disappointed when this is done, just because, it's something that I've been working on since April last year, March last year, I think. Taking breaks here and there, but it's really been something that I've been working on, and I'll need to fill the void with something else, and I'm sure I'll find that something else to do it with, with 8K Legion first, and then working on the Corsair and potentially other pirates after that. And then speaking of the Corsair, I am slowly moving gear across to it. So with that Superior Golux belt that I bought the other day, that I showed in the previous video, I've bought a Platinum Scissors of Karma to move the Tyrant belt across to the Corsair. And I've also, with the relay going on and just doing, GP capping each day on the Xenon and the Aussie style Corsair, which has a number of equips that I need to move off it onto low fat. I've bought another Platinum Scissors of Karma there, so I'm just picking and choosing which equip I want to move over first. So I might do a video midweek just to showcase what I've got going on that character. I haven't been spending too much time on it, just primarily because I'm focusing on the Xenon. But I'll move some equips onto there, see what kind of range we're starting to play with. And I'm really getting excited about playing the Corsair as well. And it's something that I've really been feeling the need to have a go at playing, and obviously I've gotten used to the play style of the Xenon, but I'll certainly have a crack at the Corsair. And then what else is going on at the moment? I've just been doing some meso farming. I haven't bought any Maple points recently. I'm really trying to predict when the next double miracle time is, because now philo books are gone. There's normally a little bit of a gap between major spending events, because Nexon want to build up as much people having money to spend as possible, and people would have emptied their pockets to try and get everything that was good out of philo books. Certain things being like the FSR rings and the Breath of Divinities, which unfortunately I never got one, but that's right. I would like to try and plan it out so I do have Maple points set aside, because I think it will become a bit hard to convert the meso, because I think everyone will start doing it at the same time when Double Miracle Time gets announced, and I don't want to tip any real money into the game, but it's certainly something that I'm excited to get to, mainly just because, yeah, there's gear for both the Xenon and the Corsair that I need to work on. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm sure it's got to be, like, what are we at? I feel like there was one in June at one point. I need to look back through my videos and stuff, but yeah, it's a strange one that they're doing what they're doing with it. Maybe there's a reason behind it. I don't know. But yeah, it's something that really has to happen, because there's some gear that I really want to upgrade, and that I want to put some upgrading videos out, and I really don't want to spend a lot on getting them to legendary and whatnot. Not that that's the really expensive side of things nowadays. The star forcing is more of a pain. But yeah, so I'm farming Meso on the Xenon as we're going along. So I think I'm sitting, at about 5 bill at the moment, which I might be saving up for another equip to buy. I'll check what's going around in the auction house, because buying pre-made equips is my preferred method, as much as I do enjoy going through the whole process of making everything, and the crafting, the cubing, the scrolling, the enhancing. It is nice just to buy something that's pre-made, just so you don't have to go through all the stress of it. And you have to fork out money in terms of like a lot of meso, but that's okay, because especially when you farm it through non-pay-to-win means, it actually feels like, well, you've spent some time getting it, so there's some effort involved there, but it doesn't feel like you've just opened your wallet and paid for it, which I must confess I've done a couple of times in the past. But yeah, so speaking of opening your wallet and buying things, I've been playing the Isle of Armor for Pokemon Shield at the moment. I will get around to doing it for Sword as well. I haven't bought the DLC for my copy of Sword yet, but yeah, just playing through Isle of Armor. I'm not really sure how I feel about it so far. I thought, like, I was really excited for it coming out, and then I don't know, maybe it's just because like my main focus is doing Maple stuff, and I've just been playing a bit of Animal Crossing and a bit of Pokemon on the side. But yeah, it's one of those things where like I just haven't really been that wowed by it yet. I think the whole thing with the dojo and getting Cubfu and all of that's interesting, and I'm at the point where I'm just about to choose one of the towers to go up, and I believe that's how you get him to evolve. You have to get his friendship all the way up to, you have to prove to Mustard that you're best friends with it, and then he's pretty much said go to this place or go to this place. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, because I don't really know what happens at either of these places. I've had hints of what happens there, and you have to pick what type, but so it's certainly a very new thing of Game Freak to be doing, in terms of having the expansion like that, rather than doing like a Mega Shield or a Mega Sword individual game. It's certainly nice not having to go through the whole playing the same story through again just to get a little bit of extra bonus content, just to go straight into the bonus content. But again, it's I think I'll really have to wait until part 2 just to make my full decision on it. But yeah, it's certainly one of those things where I guess it's their first time of doing it, and hopefully they, in the next game or whatever it is, I know they're probably years away from bringing out the next game, because they'll make this one last for a while, which is what a lot of game companies are starting to do. That it's interesting how they're doing it with these games. Thinking about how I've been playing Maple for like 14 years now, and obviously patch after patch adds new content, but it's very strange to think about games like Animal Crossing New Horizons and Pokemon Sword and Shield adding in content as it goes, in terms of new dungeons in the wild area and all of that, to make it I'll say it right now, I've spent more time on Sword and Shield than I have on any other game in the series, because I think at the moment I'm sitting probably like 130 140 hours in Pokemon Shield. About 20 or 30 hours of that has been from shiny farming, and the way that I was shiny farming is just having Joy-Con in one hand, and then just spinning the analog stick around and around until it evolved, and then going back and getting more eggs from the daycare person. So it's not really like, I don't really classify that as being fully involved in the game, because you're doing just a very, very repetitive task, kind of like what training is actually. when you think about it. Just repeating the same combinations over and over and over again. But yeah, so it's certainly a new experience doing the DLC. But what I was really amazed by, like, I think I will buy the new Pokemon Snap whenever that comes out. I don't remember really playing the original. Like, I did have an N64 and I did buy Pokemon games, but I feel like I like rented Pokemon Snap from like Blockbuster or Video Easy, like back when they were a thing, back when the Nintendo 64 was a thing as well. But I don't really feel like I spent that much time with it. It'd be cool if they almost did like something where, you know, well, I don't know how much a copy of it would cost for Nintendo 64 nowadays, and I don't believe they've got it out in the Nintendo Switch online store either, whatever they call it. But yeah, it'd be cool to go back and play the original just to see what it was like. But it does look like an interesting game. It's certainly a different play style to what we're certainly used to. But one thing I was amazed by, and not that they could really turn around and reverse what they were doing, but it was a major wrong room read on the second announcement that they made. So they had a direct on the 17th, and then they had a direct on the 24th. And wow, did they get a bad reaction from the 24th one, from what I could see, because I'm not sure who designed the set, and everyone was analyzing the hell out of it in terms of how they'd set up the props and everything in the room that they were doing the presentation for the first direct in. But why would you go through and put so many second gen plushies in the background when you're not going to announce Let's Go Johto in terms of the next Pokemon Let's Go game? It was, everyone was just like, hands down, it's either that, or some people were thinking it was like a Diamond Pearl remake, but that thought didn't really cross my mind, just because I don't think it's time yet. I really think that they might do a Diamond and Pearl remake in the Let's Go format. You know, if they bring Let's Go games out. Well, they brought Let's Go Pokemon Eevee and Pikachu in 2018. And then 2 years later, so it probably might be every 3 years, because I expect they might do that next year when they're not releasing DLC for Sword and Shield. Well, they could be doing that as well. Who knows what they're going to be doing with it. But yeah, to announce a mobile phone game for Pokemon in a strategy form, partnering up with a very controversial other party, is an interesting choice. I don't think it's really my cup of tea looking at it. I don't think I'm really going to play it. It doesn't really look like it would. I'm just not really into those sorts of strategy ones there. I'm much more into, the single player but multiplayer options as well, with games like the ones I'm playing at the moment. It is an interesting choice of them, people are saying, well, why didn't they put Pokemon Snap in that category instead of what they did with the special announcement? I'm sure it was a paid promotion where the other company wanted their own announcement, their own segment to announce the launch of the game, which is fair enough. But yeah, wow. I remember when I was watching it, I think it was just before I went off to work one morning. I was sitting there eating my breakfast, and I just Googled, the Pokemon Direct, and I brought the video up. And just before going into the video, I saw a news article that was talking about, it pretty much said, Pokemon reveal, Let's Go Johto, is it going to be what people think? And I was like, oh crap, I've just spoiled it for myself. That's what the video is going to be about. So that I went into the video with the false knowledge, or the false hope of knowing that they were going to announce Let's Go Johto. So I'm sitting there, and they reveal the mobile game, whatever it's called. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. They're just doing something as, like an entree to what the big announcement's going to be. So there they are playing that. And I'm going, okay. I'm looking at the time on the video and going, oh, this is dragging on for a little bit. And then they bring in all the YouTubers to do like a display of the game. And I'm like, oh, well, geez, guys, you're really only leaving yourself like a minute or two to announce the next thing. And then the video ends. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just not happening at all then. Cool, great. There was a little bit of disappointment in me, because I did play Red and Blue first, and Yellow and all that, but the game that I really remember playing a lot is Gold and Silver. and I love playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well, and it's I can just replay that over and over and over again. You know, I know everything back to front in terms of getting around the place. I love the legendaries. It's just a very, very fun one to me, and I really look forward to playing through the Nintendo Switch version when they eventually get around to making it. But yeah, so there was that tiny little part of me that was disappointed that that it wasn't going to be coming out later this year. I'm sure it'll come out next year. They'll probably make it the big thing for. They'll probably announce it this time next year, and then have it come out November, December at the end of 2021, like they did with Eevee and Pikachu. But yeah, so it's a little bit disappointing, but I was thinking to myself, I've got enough of a back catalogue of things that I actually want to play after I get 275 done. I was halfway through Link's Awakening when I started seriously training again, so then I pretty much put that to the side. I'm playing through the DLC for Sword and Shield at the moment as well, as I've said. So there's certainly other things that I can really sink my teeth into, as well as other things on Maple that will probably keep me the most occupied. So yeah, I don't really need another game at the moment to worry about buying and all of that. But yeah, so it was more just interesting from a marketing standpoint and in terms of just like how you present things, because it would have been like an epic hint to do that, because I think the thing that really convinced me that they were going to announce the Johto games was the fact that they had an Umbreon, an Eevee, and an Espeon sitting in front of a Nintendo Switch Edition Eevee Let's Go. So that's a pretty big hint, in my opinion, in terms of if you're announcing something, that's the sort of thing that you want to, sort of tease people with that it's coming. So maybe they're just leaving it like that for the next presentation where they will announce it. But I thought it was a very, very strange choice to make. But yeah, it's their thing, it's their show. They can do what they want, but they certainly it set off another round of threads on Reddit. And I know you can really only read Reddit to a certain point before it starts getting a little bit out there. Like there was a video a link that, or a thread that someone posted saying that Animal Crossing New Horizons needs more content to make it worthwhile for being a $60 game. And I kind of look at that and scratch my head going, well, I think there's a lot in there to do. It's very repetitive, and I think it's cool how like the seasons change and all of that, like it does in Stardew Valley. But if you want to make that argument, it had something like 21,000 upvotes the last I saw it, which is a pretty strange argument to make. I think you can make that argument about Sword and Shield in terms of needing to do more with the thing that they've got. Maybe they'll make up with it with this full DLC, but asking people to pay another, it's 45 Australian dollars for someone to do that. But yeah, it's an interesting argument to make. I don't particularly agree with it on the Animal Crossing point, because I think they are releasing more content as they're going along, and there's plenty of things to do. Like I'm just farming money at the moment before I start upgrading my island to the fullest extent, because I've done quite a few things on it. I found it enjoyable. It's my first Animal Crossing game, to be honest, so I really went in there not really knowing what to expect, but I was quite surprised, and my girlfriend's still playing it every day as well, so it's the first video game that I've really gotten her into, and yeah, it's I think it's cool there. But yeah, my main thoughts about the DLC for Sword and Shield is, like I did the trials, and it's very easy and all of that, especially when it's strange coming into it where like the average level of the like opponents mobs, it's like between 60 and 70, and you're running around with I'm leveling up like a shiny Charizard and a few other things, so I'm more focusing on getting those things high up. But like the main ones, I've put my legendaries away because I just feel like it's cheating just using them all the time. But I've got like a level 100 Boltund, which is a electric dog Pokemon, which is pretty, like, it was my favorite from my first playthrough of Shield, and I really wanted to keep it with me. But yeah, it's a little bit of a cakewalk, and the story doesn't really seem to be gripping me that much. Like, I just wish people would treat you more like the champion. I think that's kind of my takeaway from it, because everyone's just belittling you, saying, wow, you've done so well with this. It's just like, well, yeah, dude, I'm the champion of this whole area. You know, it's kind of expected that I'd be good at this as well, isn't it? But you know, that's just the way that they've written the story, I guess. So yeah, it's maybe it'll change my opinion as I go through it. I've seen rumors about the things that are due to come out in the next part of the DLC, which in terms of like the Pokemon that they're including in that, which would be interesting in terms of just a lot of legendaries and stuff being in there. But what I'm actually considering doing, I bought a copy of Pokemon Platinum late last year, which, given the current situation of things, I'm glad that I bought it then and not later, because I'm sure it would have been more expensive. But I still want to play through Platinum, and I've played through Diamond before. I think I've said this before in the video, but yeah, it's something that I'd like to play through too, again after 275 is done, because I just don't want any other distractions. But yeah, it's something that, yeah, the copy that I bought, it's just got a few interesting things on it from the previous owner that I want to move off before I restart it. But yeah, it'll certainly be something that I want to play through, just because I've heard so many good things about it, and I did enjoy Diamond. I did see some negative criticism about it, but I enjoyed playing through Diamond when I did. I think this time last year, actually. I remember I had the flu and I was just on the couch playing it a lot, homesick from work, which is, I don't know, I found it enjoyable, and just had the dog lying at my feet and watching, I think I was watching Mad Men on TV, and yeah, playing Pokemon on the DS, which was quite enjoyable. I think I was taking a break from training at the time. And yeah, that's a pretty good ramble I think I've done there. But yeah, so GPQ, please ignore how I've been jumping around this map. I didn't really pay much attention to what all my party members were doing. I was just really focusing on trying to get all of my buffs and stuff, and yeah, bursting when I'm bursting and all that. There was a fair bit of lag in there as well, but I think, yeah, just under 25,000 points is fairly decent for a 12-man party, given what other guilds are running with at the moment. That's not to throw any shade on, you know, any of them. You know, it's everyone's still trying to work out the best way to do this. But yeah, that's the result that we got. So it's our best result so far. I think the first run we did, we got about 4,000 points. So it's a big improvement on that. We got through the rooms a lot quicker too. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, let me know your thoughts of anything that I've talked about in terms of like, what did you expect if you're a Pokemon fan and you watched the Direct? You know, was it what you were expecting for them to announce? I certainly wasn't expecting them to announce that game. And if you're playing Isle of Armor at the moment, let me know your thoughts. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.